And welcome back to Box Office Report today on the 3rd of November, 2024. And you know what? I did not get the box office right because I didn't think Here, which was allegedly getting a limited release, was not going to be in the top 5. But lo and behold, there were showtimes at my local theater. It stayed in the top 5. Now, with that being said, however, I did get the majority, I think the top 3 right. I got Venom: Last Dance at number 1 again with 26.1 million, taking less than a 50% drop. That's a big thing. We'll talk about that. The Wild Robot continuing to overperform. It lost screens but went up 10.9%. Yeah, 7.5 million. Smile 2 made her 6.8 million for number 3 spot. Good for it. Conclave made her 5.3 million. I'm hearing good things about it. I gotta try to get out to see it this week. And Here debuts with 5 million, which for a small film like that, not bad. But let's talk about, I think, one of the biggest things right now. Venom: Last Dance dropped less than 50%. It's currently crossed $317 million. So what does this tell us about this film that did not get the best reviews by the critics? Actually, let me get the Rotten Tomatoes up here again. What currently is the Rotten Tomatoes for this movie? Because last I checked, it was like 36% by the critics. But like 70% of the audience liked it, which was still good. Like, it's not as good as some other films like in the 80s or 90s, but 70-ish%, like 77, I think it was, or something like that, is still a solid number to be at. And Heretic, a movie I do want to see this week that's coming out, is tracking well. So let me see. In theaters now. Where are you, Venom? Come on. Wow, they really just ditched Venom on here, didn't they? Somebody was like, yeah, no, Venom, we don't need to discuss Venom anymore. We're good. Like, okay, fine, be that way. Fine. I just wanted to know. But why is this important? It came in as the lowest grossing opening week of any of the 3 movies. It's also the most expensive, what, 20. But it's probably had to only make 300 million or so to break even. So what does the 48% drop tell us? First off, now this is almost certainly in the profit range, by the way. Now this has to be in the profit range. If it had more than 80 million in marketing, I'd actually be very surprised. But point being, what does this tell us about the film? Well, one, more people liked it than the critics did, which falls in line with the original 2 Venoms. 2, international coming through. That was a big thing. Sony was really open for the international to come through on that, and it is. But 3, nothing new, nothing big came out this week. Nothing was challenging it for its number 1 title. The only new thing we really had come out here was Here, and it only had less than 3,000 screens. This week, Heretic's the only real big thing. I mean, we got a movie called Elevation coming out. I'm not sure if it's getting a wide release or not. I'll wait to see. But because I guess I would say it's Anthony Mackie, Marina Baccarat. I guess I'd be willing to see it. It's kind of another Quiet Place type movie. But I definitely want to see Heretic. I definitely want to see that. Oh, and the Best Christmas Pageant, that's coming out too. So there's definitely wide releases coming out this week. But again, nothing that would really challenge Venom 3 in terms of its demographic and what it represents. So that's what happens when no competition comes out. You've got the big ticket in town right now still see Venom: The Last Dance. And clearly, enough people enjoyed it to give it less than a 50% drop, which, unfortunately, it's impossible to say what the other drops were for the original Venoms, because box office mojo doesn't track that anymore. At least not when they're no longer on screen. But that being said, I do recall like them both dropping over 50%. I remember that. So ironically, it has the lowest opening weekend with the best percentage drop, which is kind of insane. Which is actually kind of nuts. So long term, though, what does this tell us about this movie? Its chances for making its money back, the rest of the Sony the Spider-Verse. What's that going to tell us? Well, in just 2 weeks, it made its money back. It made its money back, and now it's profitable. At least based on the arbitrary numbers I have in my head here. Again, I don't know. Let me see if I can find an actual marketing budget. Hold on. Venom: The Last Dance marketing budget. Let's see if we can find that, shall we? Venom: The Last Dance marketing budget. Okay, I tried looking that up the last time. Let's see if they, according to Variety, Venom is carrying what? I heard it was well over 300 million for just the production, probably 600 by advertising. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's bullshit. Yeah, I have no idea who did that. Okay, let's try something else here. 120. Let's see. I'm not seeing marketing being 120 120 pre-marketing chance to ultimately make about 400 actual platforms. I'm still not seeing marketing here. Let's see here. Let me try for a screen rant at least here. Because whoever thought it's like, I don't know who the asshole who's painting the lines. It made 300. Who the fuck is saying that? Unless you're saying it's 300 total, which still does not make any sense. Like I could not see any film logically having a marketing budget that's way above its production budget like that. I could not see that except for maybe like an Avengers or something like that, and that's it. Let's see. First installment cost change. I'm not seeing a marketing. I still can't find a marketing budget on this film. Based on the amount of trailers I saw, though, the amount of marketing we saw, 80 million seems like the solid number to go off of, because there's no way in hell it's 300 million. Because no, everyone's saying it's 120 million for its production. Like, I don't know where that asshole got that number. Has to make at least 600 million just before, like, what the hell are you talking about? But regardless, so yeah, what does it say? One, this film making its money back, and it's going to make money. This film is now in the profitable range. It dropped less than 50% its second weekend. Granted, it had no real strong competition, but it still did that, which means people are going back to watch it. So that is, and word of mouth spread that at least you got to give it a watch, maybe. So that tells us, A, it's going to be profitable. B, people are going to see it. The question is, how profitable? Now, the answer to that, I think, is actually, let me double check the other Venoms to see how much they made worldwide. Let's see here. Venom. Let's see here. So I think, so the original Venom made 642 internationally. That's insane. China was a huge component of that. Huge component. But ironically, its other big areas were South Korea and Russia. So, and then United Kingdoms. So it did very well. Oh, and Mexico. Okay, so it still made a lot internationally. It made a lot overseas. So that was the first one. The second one didn't do anywhere near as well, 506, but it still made 293 of that internationally. So that's the neighborhood, that's the company we're keeping when it comes to what this film could do internationally. And it could end here. It could. Chances are it's not. Let's just say it hits that 290, let's just say 290 for an even number here. That's another 77 million added on top here, not including the domestic. That means if the domestic stop tomorrow, which it won't, you're looking at a film that is now $394 million, roughly. Would that be the lowest in the film's franchise history? Yes. But would that still be profitable? Yes. Does that still warrant them continuing the Venom Sony Spider-Verse? Because that's really what it is. It's the Venomverse. Yeah, because it's profitable. It would have been. It's still money that they're making, which is good, but it's nowhere near as much as the other ones made. So that would mean that they're still going to have to, I think, re-look at some of the things they're doing. Craven might still be able to make some money. Who knows? That was the problem. The trailers for most of these Sony movies, Venom's trailer, Venom's Carnage trailer was good. Morbius even had a good trailer, and Craven's got a great trailer. The only one with a notoriously bad trailer was Madam Web. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens here, because I desperately want more. No, I desperately want it. Now, luckily, the numbers are in, and it's clear that this film will make enough money to warrant them to continue shit, so long as Craven doesn't shit the bed. But we got to wait to see if Craven shits the bed. Luckily, the marketing on Craven right now is not large. We only have 2 different trailers. That's it. And as I said, one of the very few advantages the Sonyverse has over, say, something like the MCU or even the DCEU is that they actually keep these superhero films, relatively speaking, within low budgets. 100 million or below, with like Venom 3 being the most expensive at 120. Craven almost certainly is not a $100 million film. I don't know what the budget is on it, but we'll find out when the movie comes out. My guess, if I had to guess, is that the budget's somewhere in the neighborhood of like Morbius levels, 75 to 100. So the film probably, and the marketing, like I said, hasn't been very strong, probably about 50 million worth. So you're looking at a film, and by the way, I'm just baseless speculating right now. I do not have the hardcore facts in front of me. But that means you need the movie to hit not even 230 to break even, which, if the film is at least entertaining and gets some international money coming in, like Venom is doing, it will make its money back, which means they can warrant continuing the Sony Spider-Verse. But if Venom just shits the bed after this, and Craven shits the bed, God, the waste of a character. Like, I'm sorry, I really like Null. Null is relatively recent, but I love the character. So if they shit the bed, then I'm going to be so pissed. I'm going to have to wait probably a decade at least for them to try Null again. Minimum. But luckily, it looks like Venom is going to at least hit 400 million. That's the end question. Where do we think Venom The Last Dance is going to end up? Right now, at the rate it's going, and the fact, again, it's not going to have any strong competition this week either. It's going to have more competition. New films are coming out this week, but until Red One comes out the following week, which I believe that is the following week, it's not going to have anything that dethrones it in the number one spot. Let's see here. That's this week, 15. Yeah, Red One comes out not this week, but next week. So yeah, that's where Venom's going to lose what the number one spot at least. Luckily, again, nothing's really competing for it. You're not going to get anything that even competes for his genre until, honestly, Gladiator. And at that point, Venom's going to be kind of done. But look, I'm not going to fall over shocked if next week's box office comes in and it's made over $400 million. In fact, I'm gonna put my estimate in right now. I'm gonna put my guess in right now where it's gonna be. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna give an exact. I'm gonna say between 380 and 420. I think that's a good even ground right there. That's a good 40 million margin. But yeah, I won't be shocked if it makes over 400 million next week. So I won't. Yeah, and here's hoping, because I did like the film. It's messy, it's problematic, but I did like the film. I'm in that weird group of people who did. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But good for it for making its money back. Good for it. The Wild Robot made $7.5 million, going up. One of those few films to go up. This just shows the quality of this film, the power of this film. I'm so glad this film is doing well. It is one of the best animated films of the year, by far, bar none. Don't think quite as good as Inside Out 2, but that's a heavy bar to hit Inside Out 2 levels. But yeah, the fact that it actually went up, nothing short of impressive. And right now it's at $269 million. Profit-wise, it's long since hit the profit margin. It's long since in the green. I don't know why people say the black. I like the green. That's better, because green is money. So yeah, and really, it's actually in a nice little position, because until Moana 2 or Wicked comes out, nothing, like I said, nothing is competing for this thing. So with this thing. So the fact is, it dropped 192 theaters, but went up 10.9%, because there's nothing new to take your kids to, except for maybe Venom, maybe. But there's nothing new to take your kids to. And so until we get to, and I don't think people are going to be really clamoring over the best Christmas pageant ever. I really don't think they are. Until we hit Red One, which will be a bit of a family affair, you're not going to be getting anything that's really drawing the family crowd in until Moana and Wicked. That's it. Those are going to be the things that ultimately dethrone the Wild Robot. But great on this film for being able to do this much. And it had an uphill battle. It did. We can actually, luckily this is still in theaters, so I can actually track this. Let's actually track this thing's like actual history, because it's made on about, I want to say 78 million is the budget for this. You're looking probably about 15 million in marketing. So you're looking at a film that had to hit like 210 to break even, or something along those lines. What was it? Not 210. It had to hit like 190. That's what it was. 190 to break even. So it long since has done that. But let's actually look at it. For a film made on about 78 million, it opened at 35. Okay, fine, great, wonderful. Then it dropped less than 50. Wonderful. Then it dropped again less than 30. Then it was Indigenous People that weekend. That's why it helped there. Then it dropped again less than 30. Then it went dropped only a little above 30. Now it went up 10%. This goes to show just what a quality animated film for families can do for a studio. And I gotta remember, who was this? Was this Universal? Yeah, Universal. I've been doing the numbers. Universal has been doing okay this year, but they definitely have been needing a couple more wins because they also had a couple things that did not do so well. So yeah, good on it though. Good on it. Speaking of which, Smile 2, good on it. Made its money back. Well, it's actually long since made its money back. Because you're looking at a film that's made apparently on 28 million. You got to factor at least 30 million in marketing for that because it's going to have more than the previous one did. So you were looking at a film that had to ironically hit like 90 million to break even. But with that said, it did it. It's not going to be anywhere near as profitable as the first film was, but it is profitable. And this is a win for Paramount that they also kind of desperately need because Paramount has not been doing well this year. Yeah, and they apparently have a bit of an asshat as a CEO. But let's just announce when Quiet Place Day 1 is going to go to streaming, even though it's still going to make $200-something million. Maybe we shouldn't have done that and it will make more. It's amazing how so many of these people don't understand how the streaming and movie platforms are supposed to work together. And when the numbers have flat out been clear, no. You put it in the movie theaters first, make all that money, whatever money it makes, and then it rises the interest when you put it on the streaming platform. Because half the time people don't know it goes to streaming. So, I don't know. But 109, practically 110 for Smile 2. Good for it. Can't complain. Conclave is starting to kick off a little bit. It's got a lot of Oscar consideration from what I understand. Ralph Fiennes specifically is going to be up for Academy Award nomination, everything I'm hearing. And 15 million for probably a low budget film. Let me see here. Conclave. Let's find that out real quick. Not Vol. Conclave. Film budget. Let's see what we can find what this film was made of. Oh, okay, it's budgeted, roughly speaking, around 20 million, if I've got that right. Is it the right one? Yeah, 2024. So 20 million? It didn't have a huge marketing budget. I guess I wouldn't say anything more than 20 million. I remember seeing the trailer a couple times. So 20 million for a $20 million film. So if the film can hit 60 million, it's actually profitable. I don't know if it will do that, but because they also gave it like 43 extra screens. But hey, if they actually decide to give it even more screens, cool. Again, it's a film I do want to see. I was intending to do it last night, and I'm just not in the mood to go out right now. So, but hopefully this week I'll go out and see it. Maybe Tuesday during the day, because I'm on vacation all week. During the day, I'll catch a matinee or something. Here, it debuts at about 5 million. Good for it. I have nothing to say about it. It looks like an interesting story. I just don't know if I'll be able to see the movie. We Live in Time made another 3.4 million. This is the what was it? It's Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield. That's it. 18.2 million. So good. I mean, it's a little small film, but good for it. Terrifier 3, 3.2 million. It's now starting to be pretty capped. 63.4 million. It probably won't be making much beyond that, nor does it need to, admittedly. It long since made a huge buttload of money for a film that was only 2 million and with $500,000 in a production budget. Like, it's doing just fine. And it goes to show what a rabid fan base and a time of year release will do for you. Halloween, round in October, this fan base clearly is very passionate about this, so they did well. Then we got two films that I am not familiar with. Bulaya. This is comedy horror. Okay. I'm not familiar with this film at all, obviously. But Singham. Believe it or not, I am aware of who Singham is. Singham. We did actually watch a film with Singham a long time ago. Maybe it's this different Singham, but he had his music. And it was Singham! And we all just had a laugh. Beetlejuice had basically its final reel last weekend. A little over 2 million. I mean, it's less than 5 million away from 450. It might do it. I don't think it will, but it might. I don't really have much to say else about that, but it made its money and it made it hard and fast. Giggity. But yeah, no, it made its money. That the Anora movie got more screens and it went up. I mean, good for it. Again, not really my type of movie. Hit Pig! A bounty hunter pig finds himself trekking the globe with a free-spirited elephant he intended to capture. What the actual hell? And ironically, there were showings for this at my theater. What am I looking at here? But here's the problem. This could be the best animated film ever. I never once saw a trailer for it. Never once. So that's what not marketing something will do. So you need to know how to market something. Absolution, 1.4 million. Is this Liam Neeson? I think that's Liam Neeson. 1 second. I want to be sure. Is this another Liam Neeson action film? And yes, it is. Oh, and Ron Perlman's in there too. Cool. An aging gangster attempts to reconnect with his children and rectify the mistakes of his past, but the criminal underworld won't loosen their grip willingly. That's all well and good. I love me Liam Neeson. I love me Ron Perlman. I stopped coming to the Liam Neeson random action film just because it was really just the same thing. And he just randomly turned into an action hero all of a sudden because Taken was so good. And the original Taken is awesome. I love the original Taken. Then Godzilla -1 had a re-release, a little over 500,000. It's going to add very little to the box office, but it doesn't need to. That is legend at this point. After that, there's not much else to talk about. The Substance, $476,000. I mean, it actually didn't do terrible. What else? Lost in the Mountain of Maine, made $380,000 opening week. Transformers 1, man, you want to talk about a film that deserves so much more. It deserves so much better. But otherwise, yeah, everything else is pretty much just just gas in the fart in the wind. Deadpool and Wolverine made our $59,000. It's pretty done. It's run. It's pretty much done. If we look at the worldwide, though, let's look at what the current top 10 highest of the year are. We have, in descending order, the highest grossing film of the year is Inside Out 2. Then Deadpool Wolverine, Despicable Me 4, Dune Part 2, Godzilla Kong New Empire, Kung Fu Panda 4. By the way, they did it again last week. If you were watching if you were looking at the box office report page, box office mojo page, where someone decided to make it an $8 billion film or something like that. Like somehow Kung Fu Panda had become it was same thing that happened with Kung Fu Panda 4, Despicable Me 4, where somehow it debuted, it was already a $1 billion film. Someone was doing something. I wonder if one of the moderators' kids got involved there and just like causing mayhem. Then Kung Fu Panda 4, number 6, Beetlejuice, number 7, Bad Boys Ride or Die, number 8, Kingdom Planet of the Apes, number 9, Twisters, number 10, and right now Venom is number 13. It's definitely, I have a feeling it will at least cross the number 10 mark, at least for a little while. We'll have to see what the long term will be for it. Actually, that's a good question. Where do I think Venom Last Dance will end overall? I think I asked myself, if it might hit 500 million. It could. It's not impossible. I don't know if it's likely, but it's not impossible. But I think 500 would be the high end. I think the more realistic is between 4 and 450 for its overall. But we'll wait and see. Which would mean that it would probably be at number 7 roughly for the year. That being said, we have Wicked, Moana, and Gladiator 2, not to mention Mufasa and Sonic the Hedgehog 3. All 5 of those films have a good shot at hitting the top 10. I don't think any of those are going to dethrone Inside Out 2, not by a long shot. I would even say that the only two on that list that even have a chance of making a billion are Moana 2 and Wicked, quite frankly. I don't think Mufasa is going to be hitting the $1 billion mark. The first one was very well received, but this one just doesn't look as good. I don't know how many people really care about a prequel, but it's coming out in the holiday weekend, and I could be dead wrong on that. Anyway, though, let's look at this week's coming box office. We've got the best Christmas pageant ever, Overlord, The Sacred Kingdom, and Elevation, as well as Heretic. All right, so we got a lot of wide releases here. First and foremost, what do I think Venom is going to do next week? Because now it actually has things coming out. I'm going to be honest, it's not unrealistic to think it could still be like a 50% drop. So I'm just going to be conservative and say 50%, so about 13 million. So the question now becomes, do I think any of these films make over 13 million in their opening weekend? Elevation, no. It has barely had any trailers. I had to go up and look up the trailer for this. So that right out there is going to hurt it. So that's not going to be Elevation. Overlord, The Sacred Kingdom, maybe? I don't know how popular Overlord still is. But you shouldn't underestimate these anime films, at least in their opening releases. So maybe? The best Christmas pageant ever? I honestly don't think so. It strikes me as one of those films that is going to open to more like a 7 or an 8. It's cute, it's quaint, but it's not going to be drawing in a huge crowd. Heretic is the one I could see doing it. Because 13 is both a lot and not a lot, depending on and the trailers have been compelling. Hugh Grant is while star power doesn't exist like he used to, is still a draw. I think I'm going to conservatively still say, though, Venom: The Last Dance is going to be number 1. I'll then go Heretic. Let me see what the rest of this looks like. All right, so do I think anything is making above those, though? I think I'll go Overlord. I'll go Best Christmas Pageant. And I'll throw Wild Robot on the last one. I still think Venom: Last Dance will manage to be in the number 1 spot next week. But I'm not always right. So, and I'm just going to increase the size of this real quick. There we go. Yeah, I'm not always right, sadly. So we'll have to wait and see what the box office next week is going to look like. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And I'll see you folks for the next one.